guys, would you like more bookings? This video will help with that by teaching you when to break the rules. Here are 5 fast ways to break Airbnb pricing strategy rules to make more money. If you're watching this video, you probably know plenty about pricing strategy, so let me teach you something new. My name's Sean Rocky Geach. Thank you so much for coming to another video of mine, day 26 of my 30-day long-form educational video challenge. This is Burning Man. I'm finally home, guys. Please, give it a like for me and Karma's Ronin. It's been a long journey. And number 1, the rule that we're going to break is if you want more money, a higher ADR, you need longer lead time. This is applicable to anybody with a peak season. If you've got an August that peaks and then January is bad, you can look on RABBU, RABBU.com, for anywhere in the United States if you want a quick image of your annual chart. Check it out. Outside of the US, I'm sorry, but I'll give you a hack for that in another video. Conceptually, what we want to do is identify a time of the year where there's not going to be enough supply. See, sometimes in peak season, everybody else gets booked. If you got booked 45 days out, you could get booked for $1,000 a night in peak season. But imagine if all of your better competitors that were also $1,000 a night got booked 40 or 35 days out. What could you get at 20 days out? Because if the next best competitor is $2,000 a night, you can maybe up your rate to $1,400. So in this case, having shorter lead time can lead to less quality supply, meaning you can raise your rates because supply is more thin. Take advantage of that in peak season. Number 2 is new to you guys. Unless you're a cracking Superhost student, I don't think you've heard me say this in public before, so please like the video for this one. I'm sharing some really cool stuff. I want you to imagine that you're a host somewhere where there's a major event like Carnival. The rule that we're going to break is enforce a 3-day or 4-day minimum if you want to protect your weekends. Because let me tell you about Carnival, and let me tell you about Leonardo DiCaprio and guys like that, because they will book a house at an event. So this will apply more to luxury properties. So if you're not a luxury property, this is an aspirational tip for when you do have a luxury property. A lot of people in Carnival will have a 1-week minimum stay because it's the way that they can get the most money by getting the most nights booked. But then what happens if everybody in a market has a week-long stay, or maybe like a 3 or 4-day minimum, where there's an event that someone rich like Leo DiCaprio wants to take his helicopter in and just party for 2 nights and get out? Your listing won't show up for search for 2 nights because you have a 3 or 4 night minimum. So your hack here on events like Taylor Swift concerts or Carnival, jack up your rate 500%. We're gonna dial this in. I'm being dramatic. Event to event, this will change, but jack up your rate. Maybe even 500% for 1 night, right? And then you can build multi-day discounts to make your rates still competitive with your competitors at 4 nights, right? So you can still be 10% more money at 4 nights by having some crazy 4-day discount, like 80% off or something like that. This is hard math to do for some people, so don't worry, take it slow. Imagine your rate is $4,000 a night for a single night, and then all other 3 days of the special event are $4,000 a night. And you could get $5,000 for 4 nights. Well, now you have to give, even me, that's a little bit of math, $10,000 off your $16,000 stay. That's ballpark 60% off, fast math. But this does work. I have students in Brazil, and they have made 25% more on the week of Carnival by having a hyper-wealthy person book for less days than everybody has a minimum. You can see this less dramatically in your market. It happens almost any destination, where if you search for 2 days in a market, there'll be 200 listings available. You search for 3 days, there'll be 340 listings available. You search for 4, there'll be 365. The fact that only 200 listings have a 2-night minimum stay means that there's a lot less competition there. So you have a chance of raising your rate like 40%, just any weekend, and then do a discount for 3 days for the rest of the competitors that show up for 3, just to account for the extra competition in that search range. This is widely applicable, not just Carnival. This place is so pretty. Let's just take a quick break and appreciate what we're seeing here. I'm gonna be here for 2 weeks, by the way. Tip number 3 is for when your calendar is going to look kind of like this: barren and empty in slow season. And the rule that we're going to break today is that higher ADR is king. Most people prioritize ADR. What's my nightly rate? But let me warn you, you've experienced this if you're a host with multiple years of experience. You could have somebody book a night or 2, like Thursday, Friday, and then your Tuesday, Wednesdays don't get booked. Your Sunday, Mondays don't get booked. That's why I came up with the term adjacency. Some of you know that if you watch enough of my content, and thanks, by the way. But this gets so dramatic in slow season. You still have weekend travelers. There is supply and demand. Demand is higher on a Friday or a Saturday. In slow season, demand for a Monday, Tuesday is so low, that you may not get any search at all. The demand for a Monday may be so low that there are just as many people searching for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as there are people searching for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And the best thing that you can do in slow season is to protect your weekend rates. Maybe even raise them a little bit more than normal, but then give a sick 4 or 5 day discount. You then become the most competitive price at 4 or 5 days, leading to a higher likelihood of getting some extra weekdays booked. You're still kind of loyal to ADR. If somebody wanted to book Friday, Saturday, they're going to book it at 115, 120% of your normal ADR. But if they book a Wednesday and Thursday with it, they got that stuff for like 80% of your ADR. And they got a good deal on the Wednesday, Thursday too. By doing this, the end of the month, you could have 5 or 8 more days booked in slow season with a very similar net ADR. Even if it's so slightly lower, you still had 8 more days booked. And in a time of the year where your occupancy could be 35 or 50%, then occupancy becomes king instead of ADR. Number 4 is a little wild ball, so don't get mad at me, okay? That was cheesy. Don't unsubscribe for that. But the rule that we're going to break is that entire homes make more money than private rooms. Oh, this is wild, but I've proven it. That's why I'm bringing this up. Entire homes make more money than private rooms until they don't. I have a student in Rockford who's got beautiful properties, but he has some days unbooked, sometimes even weekends. Like mostly January, February in their slow season, or September, they'll have more days unbooked. Now, here's the cool thing that you could take to the bank all over the world. If you have a home that sleeps 14 people, the group that books for 14 people, they've got a search window. I don't know a group of 14 that's looking tomorrow to check in. You get what I'm saying? So a group of 14 might have a 20-day minimum lead time, more likely 45-day. A group of 6 might have like a 14-day minimum lead time. And a group of 2 or 1 might book same day. Not only do you have to drop your price for your house when you don't get booked 45 days out and you're now at 20 because you need to get a smaller group, but there is one point that dropping your price any lower won't find you a new customer because people are expecting something on Airbnb and they start their search with their expectations. So do you think a person who's traveling just as a couple is looking for a 4-bedroom house? No, they're probably looking for an apartment. Maybe they even might click the apartment filter or they'll click the private room filter. Very few people are going to look for a 4-bedroom house at a hyper discount like 85% off. And if somebody finds one, there could be like a level of distrust there. This property looks way too good to be $80. Finally, after me begging this man to trust me, yes, even paid students don't trust me sometimes because my ideas are crazy. I said, take one of your houses, make private rooms, and let's test what private rooms for sell. And let's test what private rooms will sell for. And we're not going to let people book far in advance, maybe 10, 15, 20 days maximum. His properties in Rockford can do $7,000 in a weekend in peak season, but then in slow season, he drops them to $500 and he still can't get booked. Happens. You've been there, right? Happens to the best of us. So the private rooms are making sometimes $200 a night because he's got a pool, he's got arcade games, he's got all sorts of cool stuff. So when people see this private room stacked with amenities, it's the only private room in the market that looks like that. Everything else is really junk. The photos are terrible. Private room photos are really terrible. So if you have a beautiful house and you put it in the private room market, all those beautiful photos you paid a ton of money for, you will slap. And so now 4 or 5 bedrooms, even if he only got booked for 125, 150 a night, he's still making more than 500 a night. Not only is he beating the target ADR that he was going to get dropping his rates last minute, but he's got a second chance. It's no longer all or nothing. It's all or individual rooms or nothing. And this extra distribution, extra visibility is leading to an increase, probably another $20,000 a year per property that he does this. So yes, whole homes do make more money until it's last minute and you have to gut your rate and people don't trust it. And people aren't even searching for your hyper big property anymore. And splitting to private rooms is a really good fail safe to really max out your property's income. And yeah, it's a lot of work. And so a lot of people won't do this. Some of you don't want to work that hard, and I get it, but it's one. And that leads us to number 5. I wish number 5 was philosophical, like just slow down, take it in, enjoy the moment. Because, oh, this is so pretty. This is cool. If I can make videos for you somewhere like this every day, yes, absolutely. Number 5 is you're going to break whatever rule everybody else is following. Okay, so I want you to imagine everybody has a 4-day minimum. And like I just told you, you can raise your rates 50% for 2-day, keep your rates 33% up for 3-day, You can then make the same amount of money someone would make in 4 days in 3 by raising your rates 33%. Way cool. If people are holding their rates until last minute in slow season, then proactively drop your rates maybe 15% in slow season for like a week-long stay or longer, and try to be the best priced person for week-long stays proactively where people are too sleepy to do so. If everyone's got a 3-day or 4-day minimum plus a weekly discount, but they don't have any other discounts, you could do the 2-day minimum, but then instead of the weekly discount, do a 6-day discount. There are guests that search for 6 days. Now, all of your competitors don't have a single discount for 6 days, but now you do. So that one 6-day search, you're now in the lead. You could even push it and do a discount for 5 days, but now you're starting to bleed into having empty days in your calendar, right? If somebody books a Wednesday through Sunday, your Monday, Tuesdays, you'd have to have a plan for. So you could do a 5-day discount and then also do the split strategy with the private rooms and stay full, but at least a 6-day. Modify that, you can do that on Airbnb. And these are just a couple of examples of how everybody in a market can start to play the same game. It's just like at a poker table. If you've ever gone to a regional poker game, like I was in Scottsdale for 2 months playing poker, everybody starts playing by a similar set of rules and protocols, and people bet the same way and raise on the turn the same way and all this poker stuff. Well, Airbnb people do the same thing because there's a lot of co-hosts with a lot of the same properties, and a lot of people start copycatting listings that are in the lead, and everybody starts doing what everybody else is doing, including in Rockford, my student, with all the arcades. Now all of his competitors have arcades because they just copied him. So anytime that everybody's doing one thing, you can break the rules, be the one person doing another thing. This is beautiful for design, by the way. So let me give you this video next. 10 transformative tips to design your Airbnb property in such a way that you'll stand out and you'll get more bookings, and maybe you won't have to compete on price as much because your place will just be ahead like that. Thank you so much for supporting me on my 30-day long-form video challenge. I'm done driving. It's been tens of hours of it, and now I'm going to build a city here at Burning Man. I'm happy. This is kind of where I belong. This is going to be great. I will see you tomorrow. And as always, I'll see you on the other side. I guess the other side of tonight. Good night.